What was life really like in the Stone Age? We've all seen the Hollywood version of cavemen, grunting, club swinging, and chasing mammoths across barren landscapes. But how accurate is that image? What did a typical day actually look like for our prehistoric ancestors? What did they eat, wear, and do in their free time? In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious chapters of human history, the Stone Age. How do we know what life was like? Since there are no written records from the Stone Age, most of what we understand comes from archaeological findings: fossils, stone tools, cave paintings, and ancient remains. These clues help researchers build a rough picture of how early humans lived, though many aspects, like their beliefs, traditions, and everyday routines, remain open to interpretation. Still, with the help of scientists and historians, we've pieced together a surprisingly detailed idea of what life may have looked like back then. What did cavemen eat? The diet of Stone Age people varied widely depending on the region and the time period. But generally they were hunter-gatherers, meaning they ate what they could hunt, catch, or gather. While meat was an important part of the diet, coming from animals like bison, deer, or wild birds, it wasn't the only staple. They also ate wild fruits, nuts, roots, seeds, and leafy plants. In coastal areas, groups collected shellfish, while others fished in rivers and lakes. Many believe women were primarily responsible for gathering plant-based food, while men handled the hunting. This idea isn't just theory, it's supported by archaeological evidence from places like France, Spain, and Italy, where remnants of processed shellfish and berries suggest that women played a major role in food collection. Of course, roles weren't fixed. In some communities, tasks were more equally divided, and both men and women shared responsibilities. How did they live? Life in the Stone Age looked different across its three major phases. Lower Paleolithic, 2.6 million, 30,000 years ago, people lived in small, mobile groups, moving with the seasons and food availability. They had no permanent homes and mostly lived outdoors or used caves for shelter. Middle Paleolithic, 30,000 to 12,000 years ago, early humans began staying in one place longer, using caves or building temporary huts from natural materials. Upper Paleolithic, 12,000 to 8,000 years ago, communities became larger and more stable. Permanent shelters and even early villages started to appear. Some people assume all cavemen lived in caves, but that's not entirely accurate. While caves were used, especially in bad weather or for protection from predators, most people built their own shelters from wood, branches, and stone. In fact, evidence shows early humans began building simple huts as far back as 1.5 million years ago. What about clothing? Clothing in the Stone Age depended heavily on the environment. In colder areas, people likely wore multiple layers of animal skins to stay warm. In tropical climates, they may have worn very little or nothing at all. Despite popular belief, they weren't running around in rags because they didn't know any better. In fact, they knew how to sew using bone needles and sinew, and they were skilled at tanning animal hides. Clothing wasn't just functional, it likely had social or symbolic meaning too. Leaders may have worn distinctive garments, or people might have adorned themselves with necklaces, bracelets, or painted designs to show their role in the group. What did cavemen do for fun? We don't know exactly how prehistoric people entertained themselves, but they clearly had a creative streak. Cave art is a powerful example. Paintings from over 40,000 years ago depict animals, symbols, and even early attempts at storytelling. Jewelry and figurines, like the famous Venus of Willendorf, suggest a connection to ritual, play, or fertility symbols. Music and dance likely played a role in community bonding, especially around the fire at night. Games may have included versions of hide-and-seek, tag, or pretend fighting. Some researchers even believe they played early versions of board games like Mancala. Even without written language or modern luxuries, early humans found ways to express joy, pass time, and connect with each other. A day in the life of a Stone Age human. To truly understand what it was like, let's imagine a day in the life of a Homo sapiens individual living in ancient South Africa. Morning. Our protagonist wakes up in a temporary camp after a restless night. Hyenas had prowled nearby, their eerie cries echoing through the darkness. He slept close to his kin, probably near a fire, using animal skins for warmth. Midday. Food is a priority. It's been 2 days since their last successful hunt. The group prepares to pursue a herd of antelope nearby. They don't use advanced weapons yet, just sharpened stones and teamwork. They run the herd until one animal tires, making it easier to catch. Today they're lucky they find a young antelope struggling to keep up. A successful hunt means food for everyone. Afternoon. After the meal, the group begins migrating again. They find a clearing surrounded by tall trees, ideal for setting up a new camp and spotting predators. While the women and children forage for berries and roots, the men keep watch. Our protagonist heads to the nearby river to catch fish. While he fishes, he notices a leopard stalking the group. He acts fast, driving it off with a spear, but not before taking a claw to the leg. The women clean his wound with leaves and soil, a primitive but essential form of first aid. Evening. As the sun sets, the group gathers around a fire. They cook, eat, tell stories, and laugh. Children play hide and seek. Others pretend to hunt with wooden sticks. Lying back on the grass, our protagonist gazes up at the stars. He dreams of a future where his people no longer wander, where they build homes, raise animals, and cultivate the land. But for now, he's a hunter, a gatherer, a protector, and a survivor. The legacy of the Stone Age. Though we'll never know every detail of their lives, one thing is clear: Stone Age humans were incredibly resourceful. They adapted, innovated, and passed their knowledge down through generations. Their legacy is our foundation. So next time you drive to work, scroll on your phone, or cook a meal, take a moment to appreciate the long journey it took for humanity to get here. It all started with a few tools, a warm fire, and the courage to face the unknown. Want to learn more about how ancient humans evolved and adapted over time? Check out the next video in our Stone Age series, where we explore the birth of language, the rise of farming, and how we went from small tribes to great civilizations. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more journeys through time.